Welcome, welcome. Happy Thursday. It's me, Brandi P, with another podcast of Yes, I Am the Veteran. And I'll be bad juju tonight just because there are two Brandis in the house, which I'm pretty excited about. I'll be referred to as that just for fun. And I definitely want to go ahead and reintroduce our guest host. So, Daniel, you want to say hey?
Hey, how's it going?
So those of you guys that don't know, Daniel is with RCPT, and he was a guest of ours not very long ago, actually. So we're glad to have you back on. How's everything going? How did everything go with your competition?
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't selected for the National History Teacher of the Year. So, it was the teacher that won it actually was she was from Hawaii. I mean, there were so many well-deserving teachers that were selected for the program. I really thought that I had it locked in with all the work that I've been doing with the veteran community in our STEM program, which you gave me a chance to really showcase in the last time I was on. We're actually slated to do a presentation tomorrow at my high school. Our team is going to go in and do that. We're all really excited for that, and I can't thank you enough. But it was still a huge honor to be selected by the Gilder Lehrman Institute of American History for the Florida U.S. History Teacher of the Year. So that was a real huge honor for me, and there's so many cool things that happened because of that. And being a historian, I get to talk to people like you and Brandi Rector here. It's a real honor to be able to have that opportunity. I've met so many amazing veterans and so many amazing people on this road, and I love having that unique opportunity to share not only our story, but hearing yours as well.
And we appreciate that you guys really talk about women's history. I really think that that's amazing. I mean, I still can't believe that we had Rosie the Riveter, one of the last surviving ones, come on our podcast. And that was all thanks to you guys. And especially, like how well she speaks of you. I mean, she loves you.
Yeah, May is a great lady. I was introduced to her by our Command Sergeant Major Rick Lamb, who was just inducted into the Ranger Hall of Fame not too long ago. So he was it was just, and she is just such an amazing person. Like she's like everybody's grandmother, so it's awesome.
She really is. My daughter loves her and she loves my daughter. Make that up. Imagine, like, I actually had to explain to my daughter's teacher, nope, no, she really is doing these things because my daughter is 6, so her teacher thinks she's making things up, and I'm like, no, that really happened. It's always awkward. I'm so sorry to hear that Tom Rice passed away.
Yeah, it was a sad day for the airborne world, and we lost Jim Pee Wee Martin back in on 9/11, September 11th. We lost him as well. We held a memorial service for Pee Wee at our event. His granddaughter Jody came down, and we held a service. Our team did, and we posted that. And we actually renamed our hangar. We now have a hangar down at our plaque called Pee Wee's Hangar, which is a really big deal. His name is in big bold lettering on the side, was in a way to honor him. And we're going to be doing other things to honor airborne members that we lost. It's a sad day, but we send our condolences out to the family. So,
and unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of World War II veterans, and I mean, he's very, very memorable, and it's pretty amazing that you guys honor our brothers and sisters in that way. I think that's pretty amazing. Especially, a lot of people tend to forget history, and it tends to repeat itself. Really, if that happens, so I think that's an awesome way to keep their memory alive. And I definitely want to introduce our guest, Brandi Rector with Semper Fly. So, hey, Brandi, how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing. It's been a week. A memorable one at that.
I have the worst internet, so I'm hoping that this will come through okay.
Oh, I can hear you.
Yeah, there's just like a little bit of lag, but you're good.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So how often do you confuse? Because can you tell us what branch are you in?
The Marine Corps.
I figured. I was saying, imagine being the Air Force, right? It's like one of those irony kind of things. Just kidding. Her face, she's like, and that's not funny. But no.
Well, happy belated birthday.
Right? Did you celebrate appropriately?
No, not really. No, we're so busy. I mean, you always have, I guess we did have a drink, but that was it. We didn't really go crazy, and we were at home messing in the hangar and cleaning and listening to music. So I guess that's kind of appropriate.
As long as you had fun, that's a good way to go.
Well, GI parties and drinking, that definitely gives military theme. Hi, Jim. So, what got you into like I guess the world of helicopters?
Oh, I was in the Marine Corps. I was a helicopter mechanic and an aerial gunner, not a crew chief. They used to call us AOs, and then they changed it to AGs on a CH-53 Echo. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, I was going to go be a police officer. Then I just found out that I could go to college, get my pilot's license, and become a pilot. And I had missed flying. I think I was out for like a year, and then I was ready to go back to flying. So I went and started doing that and became a pilot. I was an AMP for the airline, mechanic for the airlines for while I was going through flight school. So I just stayed aviation because that's what I knew, and I'm good at it, I guess. So I love it, and I love flying.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty amazing. Like, I mean, your helicopters are amazing. Like, it's cool to watch, like your videos and see your pictures. Like, I just think it's really cool, especially when you're getting out, like you're doing what you want to do. You know, there's always like that illusion, right? Like when you get out, like I'm gonna have all these cool jobs, but usually you get like a horrible job, or you work at McDonald's, or like a normal like job that you wouldn't think is nearly glamorous. But you're like the opposite of that, which gives us all hope, right?
Listen, I didn't think it could be done, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna try. So you just have to try. I tell a lot of people that ask me about, like, what can they do, or like, I feel like it holds a lot of people back when they're like scared to take that risk or scared to jump in on something that is intimidating. But you'll never know if you don't do it. So you have to try it. The worst that's going to happen is you fail and you have to go do something else.
Exactly.
Did you like struggle transitioning after you got out of the service? I hear a lot of different stories about guys when they get out and they try to transition into different roles, and a lot of the veterans I've spoken to is part of my job as a historian is like, their transition story is really unique. Do you have any advice or anything to what was your story like?
Oh gosh. I think mine was really difficult because I had just come off a 9-month like high intensity employment where we were like go 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 for 9 months straight, and I came home, and then I was immediately transitioning out, and it almost felt like somebody slammed the brakes on my life. Like I went from running the shop, day crew, I'm flying, we're working, I'm a mechanic, I'm doing all this, I have all this responsibility. And then it was like brakes. And it was so hard. Like I had such a hard time adjusting. I got a job right away with Sikorsky hired me to go to West Palm Beach, Florida and work on the CH-53 Kilo. But the position that I had with them was like sitting at a desk. And I wasn't used to sitting at a desk and just sitting still all day. And so I would have really bad anxiety just sitting there, and I would pace, or I'd have to get up, or I wanted to go outside, or I wanted to go see what was going on in the hangar. Or like it was so hard. I didn't sleep at night. It was really difficult. And like everything seemed so slow. Nobody was in a hurry to do anything. Everyone seemed very lazy to me. And I know that's good at not being like mean, but the civilian world operates different. Yeah. And so I was like, I can't do this. And I was freaking out a little bit. And I stayed there for like 6 months. And an old gunny is actually who was my boss. And so he's like, I totally understand. I'm like, I'm going to go be a police officer where the action's at. Like, and so I moved back to Indiana where I'm from. And I was like, going to go do that. And I started running tests and trying to get ready for it. And then I found out about flying. And then I was like, well, I'm going to go to college and go become a pilot and all that. And so I moved again to St. Louis, and then all downhill from there. And I went Customs and Border Protection for a little while. I went through federal law enforcement training. I did a lot of stuff, but this I like this because I can create my own schedule. I work as much as I want. If I'm like go go go, I can be go go go. If not, it just was better when I wasn't sitting down. Like that was hard. Just thinking about it gives me anxiety. I'm like, man, that was hard. But now I'm okay
now. You're there. You're fine.
Well, what would be like the best piece of advice you'd give to someone just like they just got out and transitioning in? What would be your best piece of advice for them?
transitioning into civilian life. Well,
Yeah,
I would say I
transitioning,
wish
yeah,
I would have
from
started. Yeah, I wish I would have started a little sooner, like been a little more mentally prepared for what I was getting myself in, like going into. Um, I you definitely should. I should have had a better plan getting out. I think that made it harder. I didn't have a goal, a plan. I was like, oh, I'm going to get out and probably go to school, which everybody says that. So I'm going to get out and probably go to school, and then I'll figure it out from there. To me, I think that was the worst. I didn't have a plan. I had nothing to shoot for. I was just kind of shooting from the hip. And that made transitioning harder. And there's a lot of things I could have done in the right before getting out that would have made it easier. I did start my A&P stuff. I started that early, which was good, but I could have finished it. And there's things with like prepping to get out. If you have a goal and you have something that you want to do, you can totally set yourself up and it won't be so hard. Like, don't shoot from the hip and don't think I'm just going to get out and figure it out, because that's a lot more stressful. I didn't like that.
Yeah, don't sleep during taps, even though you want to. But so
They
over
leave a lot of stuff out in tap.
right. They should have just emailed that to us. That could have been a PowerPoint. I'm just saying. But over 1 million women went to work in World War I to help produce war items so our soldiers could fight in the field. Do you ever think back to the trailblazers who helped pave your way, not only in the military, but pilots like Amelia Earhart? Do you maybe look up to any women pilots in history?
Oh my gosh. It's funny you brought that up. A really good friend of mine, Abingdon, she owns a watch company and she's really big into like women, like pioneering and the backstory of it. And she had just asked me not too long ago if I knew who the first female helicopter pilot was. And I was like, God, it's like a test. And we were looking it up, and she was, yeah, that was so, now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, oh crap. But there was a lot of female. There was some. I don't want to say a lot. When I was in the military, God, I think I can only think of like three female pilots, helicopter pilots. And one of them she flew an Osprey, and she was a major on my last deployment. And she wasn't even, I'm a 53 person, but she was awesome. And I really looked up to her because she was the only female Osprey pilot on the deployment. I was the only female flight line 53 person that was there. And I was flying all the time. I'd see her going out on the flight line and stuff. And she was kind of in charge of a lot of stuff. And so she was somebody I was like, man, she's killing it. She's not scared of anybody. Like, she was telling all, like, sergeant majors and stuff, like, sit down, and I just love that. I love that about her. But going back in history, I mean, I don't relate. I'm very strictly helicopter person. I don't get into the airplane stuff. I'm vaguely interested in some of the airplane stuff. There's a lot of awesome women pilots that fly planes, but
what about jumping out of it?
There you go.
Because that's what they do. They jump out of it.
You need to jump. You have to jump out of the airplane. So my fourth and fifth jump was out of a UH-1 2 years ago at our Operation Black Hat in 2020. We got to jump the UH-1 Bell. But that was just, my fourth jump. We get up. We're up 1,500 feet. The open doors, everything. There's 8 of us in the bird with the jump master and the pilots, and I could see the skyline of Jacksonville. And, all I remember is, you hear, 1 minute, 30 seconds, and the jump master says go. Then, it was just an unreal experience. And it's something I will never, ever forget. And I cherish it every day. And it's one of the things that if you've never jumped, that we would love to have you come and jump with us. Absolutely.
Yep.
If that's something that you would want to do.
We're actually planning something.
God, I know. I've flown skydiving. We do some skydiving. I launched, when I launched Semper Fly, I wanted to do skydiving. So, not me personally. I'm not a little embarrassed. I'm not scared of heights. That just, I don't know about that. I'm out of control falling, I feel like. But I've taken jumpers. We've had we've had females come and jump, solo jumpers, and in the military we jumped them out of the back of the
Oh, your birds are rigged for it.
I've seen it. My 206, you can jump out of that.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Wait, can I go spear hog hunting out of yours? I'd like to do that. I'm physically handicapped and I decided to do that myself. So like, okay, it's a little backstory. So there's an amputee and I on occasion have adventures. We just saw a Marine Ink Master. That's how we actually saw them very recently at their Operation Black Hat. And it was funny because Maggie is a very feisty amputee at that. And poor Maggie.
I heard about the pictures.
Yes. Oh man. But yes, we actually
I didn't hear about the picture.
I'll talk about that. Yeah, but she's handful. But we met because we took a knife making class at different times, and they needed 2 females, and we went spear hunting. But she has a leg missing, and I have part of a leg missing, and I'm physically impinged, so I walk kind of like Frankenstein, basically. And so like I'm like try to run through the fields and like shit kickers, like I'm like I'm gonna die. Like this is how was it not Dr. Lecter, like Mr. Verger died in like Silence of the Lambs. I'm like this is probably wasn't my best idea. So I'm like maybe a helicopter might be safer for us because they slug her across like their back like a backpack and like ran with Maggie with one leg. She's like a side. I have a video. It's wild. But yeah.
Well, you got to ride in the helicopter, didn't you?
Yeah, got to go in the Tico Bell. That was pretty awesome, actually. Maggie loved it. Like she grinning ear to ear. She's gonna jump in March too. We're all gonna be jumping. Looks like we're all gonna be jumping in March. My adventure.
Yeah, we usually try to arrange for a signature aircraft for each of our events. Our fall events dedicated to our Vietnam brothers and sisters, while our spring event, Operation Sand Snake, is dedicated to our veterans from World War II. Both jump school operations help us plan for our Normandy jumps that happen in June, and then we have an all-American water jump that happens in July. So, but we really incorporate that in, and you can really feel the history when you step on our drop zone and talk with our veterans and talk with our jumpers. It really is a family. When you jump with us, as our slogan is, we're more than just a jump. And it's just, the history just kind of comes alive, and we kind of translate that back into the classroom with our STEM program now, which is really an amazing, no one else is doing that, which gives us the opportunity to really broadcast that history back to the students and carry it forward.
I'm not laughing at you, Daniel, I promise. I'm just looking at the Mr. Bigglesworth. What's your kitty's name?
Well, it's got hair, so the cat's got hair, so it's Austin Powers too.
You said Elmo?
Tour.
Oh, that's even better. That's a good one.
Nice.
So few people will get that reference. It's okay.
Cats are awesome.
Yeah, you brought that up. A little because you were talking about the veterans and the history and stuff. So when I got Semper Fly, or not Semper Fly, Sky Hunter Outfitters is our helicopter hog hunting. My dad, he passed away in 2019 from cancer from Agent Orange, Vietnam veteran, all that. So
sorry to hear that.
it was very important to me that every year, he passed away and I actually buried him on his birthday. So February 18th is his birthday, and the day that I buried him at the Florida National Cemetery. But he was a Purple Heart and stuff and Silver Star from Vietnam. So because of that, and I'm his only child. I'm a daddy's girl. Every year, what I wanted to do was for his birthday, have Vietnam veterans out and take them hunting for free. So this year they came out and I got to fly them, and I flew them around. We didn't get to hunt this year. They've shot at targets, but this coming season I'm going to do it again on February 18th. And I signed up. Gosh, I don't remember how many we had. 13, I think, is how many came out from all over the country to come.
That's amazing.
But we're going to have, I've already had some asking me that didn't get to make it this year that want to come this coming February. So we will be doing it. I know people are asking me. I am doing it. I just got to sign them up, and I'll take them hunting up in Oklahoma. So it will be fun. I have it all solidified already. I know the properties I'm going to take them to and everything. So I'm pretty excited about it. And a lot of them they just have a blast. It's a lot of fun. And I want to do like a cookout and stuff like that. So it's kind of, we try to do a lot with the veterans. And
That's a lot like our events
every year.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. So that sounds like a lot like our events. Like at the end of every day, we have like a fellowship kind of dinner. After each day of our jump school goes from Tuesday through Friday, and so after the end of each day, from ground school to your first jump and everything else, we usually have a dinner with the team, and just building that camaraderie and building that fellowship with the family. It's you can really feel it when you step out on our drop zone. These people become your family. If I had an issue, all I have to do is post it to, one of our social sections, and I'll have 150 phone calls when, like 2, 3 hours of, say, hey, you okay? Do you need anything? And it's really refreshing to have that. And that's what we try to eliminate, 22 down to 0. A lot of veterans really need a place where they can go and, be themselves and, speak without a filter. And I've seen that a lot. A lot of our members, when they come to our events, they equate it going to church, and it's really amazing, especially to hear their stories as we go through and record that. And, it's just, as a team historian, I get to catalog a lot of that stuff for them. And it's a real honor to be able to have that privilege.
Absolutely. And,
yeah, no, that's awesome.
So say hi to Kathy. Hey, Kathy. I hope you're doing better, sis. I know she just had surgery on her eye, so I'm hoping she's feeling better. And so, Daniel, what was your question? I apologize. I know I had cut you off there.
Oh, no, it's just like, was it a challenge for you as a female pilot when you first started out? I mean, were there any major obstacles like, oh, she can't fly or something like that? That you always hear about the horror stories. So it's like, if you ever ran into any kind of roadblocks.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, as a pilot, I mean, I don't know. By the time I became a pilot, I don't want to say I'm jaded or rough around the edges, but I was a mechanic first. And if you want to talk about those roadblocks, that's way worse than to me being a pilot. But there is. I still get it now. I mean, so Mike, my boyfriend Mike, he's a retired Marine, and we do this together. So everybody that comes up, like they come and they've heard about us, but they don't necessarily know that I'm the pilot or whatever, I own it. And so they'll go up to him like, oh, they start talking to him like he's the pilot. And I just sit there. I'm so used to it that I just like wait until he says to them, like, she's flying. She's flying in. And then they're like, oh, God. And then I've had, it's kind of like a joke with us, like, they'll be like, oh, can she fly? Or, oh, are you going to be able to put us on hogs? Or, oh, this or that. Or some of them, they've kind of got smart with me or whatever. And Mike will be like, if I'm already flying and he's putting these guys in and he already knows, he'll make sure to let me know that to bring them back sick. So I make sure they get
one more spin around the meeting.
I know that sounds terrible.
There you go.
Like, because, my flight school was amazing. I went to Midwest Helicopter. They're now called North American Helicopter out of St. Louis, and they were awesome. My instructor was a female, Maddie.
Oh, very cool.
Amazing. And one of my best friends now. So she instructed me. I got my private pilot with her. We started in commercial. I can't remember if I finished my commercial with her. Then I went CFI or instrument CFI CFII. But I started off with her, but the flight school was amazing. Like, I never felt like, oh, I'm a girl and people are like, you can't do it. And, my DPE was a Marine and he put me through the ringer, but, I just never had that experience when it came to flying or becoming a pilot. I've had plenty that I've met out since being a pilot that kind of look like, you kind of got to show them sort of thing. But I'm telling you what, be a mechanic, aircraft mechanic, and that is night and day different. To me, I got way more pushback, way more discrimination on that than ever being a pilot. So I know the airline pilots or female airplane pilots. I've heard tons of stories. I'm in all the groups, Whirly Girls, female aviators sticking together. female Marine groups, like female pilots, military pilots, you name that group, and I'm probably a part of it. So I've heard all of the stories, and I just don't have a lot of pilot ones, except for people coming to fly with me, and they're like, oh, it's a girl. But then at the end of the day, they're like, yeah, that was awesome. You kicked ass, whatever. So
You're like,
it's
Well,
fine.
it's like it's like the part of the STEM program that we have tomorrow. We have a whole section dedicated to women. And, I always teach my students every year, and it's incorporated in the lesson, that women logistically won World War I and World War II for us because, yeah, you have the guys on the battlefield, with all the modern weapons and technology, but you need women like May Cryer, back in the factories building those B-17s. You need your Rosies putting all that stuff together. And my great aunt was away for the Navy, and you needed the women and, working in the factories, working on the bases, because that's one of the things the Germans, and the Italians refused to do. They refused to put their women in the factories. They decided to keep them there. It was one of the logistical failures that they had because they weren't able to keep up with the amount of product and munitions and supplies we were able to sit there and do. And people always like their jaws always thought, oh my God, it's like, yeah, women logistically won the war for us because without them in the factories, we wouldn't have been able to have all that stuff on the ground. And it's, talking to May and hearing her story is just absolutely fabulous. And I knew, when our sergeant major put me in contact with her last year, she actually spoke to our students at our STEM program last spring, and I had a video and we were able to record that. And, for 45 minutes, and kids were asking her questions. And one of the biggest questions they had for her, they were so concerned about her anxiety for being 17 and going out and starting working for Boeing. And it's like, how did you handle the stress? And it's just like, yeah, we just did what we had to do. And the kids, all my students, their jaws like dropped because like, yeah, we did it for our country. And May will tell you all the time that she doesn't see herself as a veteran, but she absolutely is, and that, that's a big deal because Rosies are absolutely, veterans, because without those women, it wouldn't have happened. And I thank you for your service, and you're trailblazing it too. And I'm looking forward to talking to you more and hearing your story, as, time goes forward. So it's just absolutely amazing. But, looking at that, do people ever have any like misconceptions about helicopter pilots or just flying helicopters in general, like that you've come across, or like what's your best helicopter joke that you know?
Oh gosh. Well, the one I like to tell the fixed wing pilots is real pilots don't need runways, but that everybody knows that one. So, man, I don't, I don't really, I don't know. Like, I haven't had a lot, I don't, I think because of the way where I came from, I feel like some of the, airport stuff that like all these other pilots, they're around a lot of other pilots. I think once I became a pilot, I wasn't around them a lot after. Like I went through that, I became a pilot, but then I went through federal law enforcement training, and then I was out in San Diego and I was kind of around them a little bit. But then after that, I went and I worked for General Atomics as a UAV operator. And those pilots, they're interesting. Some of them are also fixed wing. There was one other helicopter pilot guy, and I actually have flown with him. I had him come out and do some tours with me. But I mean, I guess I was lucky in the sense of how the career path that I took. And I've been around a lot of women pilots because I got involved with Whirly Girls, and then I've been to like Heli Expo and the Women in Aviation stuff. And so those are really a lot of the men pilots. I mean, I guess I heard the stories, and I've heard other women say, like, oh, he was this or abrasive, whatever. But I'm so used to the military is so different that none of that phases me. And then most of the time I'm so shocked when they're like, man, can you believe that he said that? And I'm like, that's not that bad. Like, and then I don't know how to respond to it. Well, whatever, moving on,
Different pilots are totally different. Have you noticed? Sorry, the lag there.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's actually I don't know if you've heard of like Dos Gringos. There's a Air Force group of fighter pilots, and what they created was like this hilarious band, and they sing about being a pilot and like from the crew chief's point of view, and they actually wrote an actual song about the base commander's wife. They were not amused, so it was pretty funny. But what I was gonna say is that, yeah, definitely check them out on iTunes. Yeah, they were banned from ever playing at the Officers Club ever again when I was there. Because yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah, I think the song was called "The Bitch Spent All My Money" or something like that. Yeah, the general was on amused, but and they
I wonder why.
they were in a squadron, like, because they thought they were bros. Like the F-16 pilots are totally different than a UAV pilot or a heavy pilot. Like there's totally different personas. And it's funny because like I've seen it where like the women, when they get named, they get like horrible names. And a lot of times in the Air Force, like the naming ceremony, they just get trashed. And they tell all these stories until they're like, aha, that's your name. And so I had one, she was a flight surgeon, and she actually, her call sign was Hoover. And the reason why was because of the fact that, yeah, well, she was talking about applying suction to like help deliver a child. Well, of course, fighter pilots being fighter pilots, everything, so to speak, and cranium, because any little thing can be misconstrued as a double entendre, right? So like she became Hoover, and she had to pay like a ridiculous amount of whiskey to like get them to change it back. So funny.
Huh. Interesting. That's an interesting story. I've heard some call signs that are bad. But and it's funny that you said that about pilots. The pilots are very different depending on the platform that you fly.
Yep.
Like 53s and V-22s and any 46s. They're so different because those pilots are used to working with a crew. And then when you get like Cobra guys or guys that are like single pilot or they're not, man, I don't know, a nice way to put how they are, but they're very different. The crew mentality pilots that are used to, like, they understand they need us as much as we need them as a crew and pilot wise. So it's just very different. Different world.
What was your call sign?
As a crew, I wasn't a pilot, so I didn't get one in the military.
Oh, okay.
They like to call me like my gunny and my master sergeant. Some of the other guys like to call me princess because I was always, and they wanted to make me a patch that had combat boots and lip gloss because I was forever putting lip gloss on because I hate dry lips. And so that was my only joke. They would always tease me about it. But I mean, I earned my respect there. So people didn't give me too hard at the beginning, very much. Towards it, it was like I got it all. So yeah. I didn't really have a call sign. I guess princess, if you want to get real technical, but I'm not too fond of that, and I didn't carry that over into the pilot world. So I don't have one right now. I guess I'm open for suggestions. I could put it out there if somebody wants to help me come up with a call sign.
All you got to do is come jump with us, and I'm sure we can figure one out for you.
Oh, no. That's a good person. Mikey's going to be out there. Who knows what it will be?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Mikey's one of our newest jump masters, and we love him to death. So, I'm sure, if enough whiskey's around, I'm sure a call sign will come out of there some way, shape, or form. So.
All right. We're pulling an all-nighter with a bonfire and whiskey. I'm in.
I had a quick question though, so what is something everyone should know about riding in a helicopter from your perspective? My first time in the UH-1 Bell was 2 years ago when I actually jumped out of it. That is the first time ever. I'd ridden in a MASH copter before because a buddy of mine back in New York owned one, the bubble copter. But what's something everyone should know before stepping into like one of the birds you have?
Well, I mean, it depends on what are you getting in it for. Are we going shooting or are you going on a tour? I mean,
well, let's say we're going on a hunt.
On a hunt, okay. So before a hunt, I always brief about weapon safety. That's very, very important. I don't want them shooting my main rotor blade. Don't shoot your foot because your feet are outside. I don't want that. Don't bring that barrel back inside the aircraft. Mm-hmm. I always go through how to clear it, what to do. Don't panic. Don't fall out. I'm just kidding. You're strapped in. I have you.
Legitimate concern.
Just kidding. You have a harness, unless you don't want one. But I mean, listen to me. My biggest thing is you have to listen they need to be able to like listen to what I'm saying, because you don't shoot unless I'm telling you to shoot, and you have to stop when I say. We do not own the entire United States or have permission to shoot wherever we want. So if I'm telling you you can shoot, it's probably because we're over land that you can. If I'm saying don't shoot, you're either shooting somewhere you shouldn't be, or I'm about to cross over where we can't shoot anyway. So that's the when it comes to that sort of thing. And then motion sickness, that's a tough one. And doing hunts, if you get any kind of motion sickness, you should take something beforehand that is non-drowsy, because the odds of you getting sick are pretty high, because we're flying low, we're turning hard. Like if I'm chasing pigs, like you're hanging on and you're shooting. So you're trying to focus on something while I'm turning or stopping or going or sliding or something. And like you're just
Wow, that
all
sounds
over
like a
the
wild
place.
ride.
Some people
No,
some people get
that
sick.
sounds pretty intense. That's something I've always wanted to try and do. So I mean, that sounds pretty awesome. If someone was actually wanting to sit there, how would they, where can people, curious about helicopters, or where can they get more information about what you do?
About the hog hunts, like our like go.
Well,
Are you
yeah,
talking
just in
about like go
general,
to
like,
our website? Yeah, yeah, helicopter hog hunting. You can go to the website. We have a website for Sky Hunter that I'm working with the developer to. I wanted to add some new stuff to it. One of the things I'll probably end up adding like a safety video that you could just watch ahead of time. And there's obviously video that you can watch what it looks like. This
that's cool.
season, this season I plan on hiring somebody to bring a drone out and follow the helicopter when we go shoot, so you can see it firsthand, kind of from the outside, and what it looks
Oh,
like.
having like a chase plane.
Yeah, kind of.
Nice.
And so I want to do that, and then I'll be there. The website itself is it's a work in progress. I should have a call with him in the next like day or two to start working on some of the stuff that I want to update, so that people because I've been to other websites and I'm like, this doesn't really tell you anything. And if you Google the videos, I mean, yeah, that's great, but not where we're located is not in the middle of the desert. So you're not flying desert around in the middle of nowhere. We have trees and power lines and houses and barns and cattle and like you name it. I got to avoid all these things. So it's things that you should know about before you get here to be mentally prepared. Like don't shoot towards a cow or a house or a car or any of these things. And so, and what to expect, and the sickness portion's a big one. And don't show up hungover. The bachelor parties that like to show up for the bachelor parties,
Oh,
they
God,
show up
I can
hungover,
imagine.
and then I have to land so they can throw up. So that's a lot.
Well, yeah,
There's a lot that goes on.
We're really fortunate because our public affairs officer, Dave Cyrak, is just he has his own production company, and he's just a genius when it comes to doing our videos, and everything that he puts out. It looks so professional and so awesome to do, and we're very fortunate to have that. And we have a lot of videos that he has done, and that really showcase what our team is capable of doing, and when they put those things together. So it's really nice to be able to have that. I'm sure, it's just really fortunate. So when students want to come, we have a lot of different videos and variations for them to take a look at, from like what it's like to jump out of a C-47, from what it's like to jump out of a Huey. So it's really unique to be able to do that. No, that sounds like an awesome idea. I know I'd want to take a look at a video and see, okay, what is a helicopter hog going to look like before I step in and do that. I mean, I've been hunting for a long time. I never thought about, hunting from an aircraft. So I thought that'd be, I've heard people do it, and it's like I've always that's something I'd be interested in trying. So
a lot of people, I think, too, don't understand how low we actually fly, because I get the questions about the cows a lot. Like, well, what if you can't tell the difference between a cow and a hog? And I'm like within 20 feet of it. What do you mean? Like, if you can't see, there's a problem. Like, I only fly, even transitioning, I will rarely go above 400 feet, moving from one spot to another. But then once I'm searching, I'm as tall as the tallest tree. So I'm just treetops, like skimming the trees.
Oh, wow.
And once you find them, and then you get them out of the trees, because you don't want to shoot in the trees. You push them out of there. And then I can chase them. Like there's a few times I tried to hit them with the skid of the helicopter. I'm just saying, they tried to run over me, and I was like, oh, no. So we're pretty low, is all I gotta say. I'm certain if you could like bungee, you could like land, like grab him and wrestle him down or something.
Wrestle. Maggie would. She would jump out of the thing with one leg. Like, I already see that. She
Like
dropped
10
the
feet.
spear. I didn't even get the spear when we spear hogged on it. I had to use a bowie because she like took off with it, and like I had my hog right after it, and then she was gone. I was like, I can't chase it. And then she, I can't. Like, I had to
So
like.
do you think you'd want to come and jump with us?
You know, I can't say no because you have me on
Come
the
on.
line. So,
Come
yeah,
on.
that sounds amazing.
Come on.
No, it's a life-changing experience. At least it was for me.
How high do you guys jump?
We jump
How
at
high?
1,500 feet.
Oh, okay, I'll do that. I thought you were gonna tell me like what I see to people is like 10,000. I'm like, ugh, 8
Well,
to
we
10,000.
we are the president of our team is a tandem instructor, and then our sky boss Art Schaefer is a legend. And, this Skydive Palaca is his operation, and RCPT USA would not have a home without Art, and he's just a legend in the skydiving world. He has almost 20,000 career jumps, and he's just a phenomenal guy. He's actually part of my STEM program that the kids love talking. It's like, oh my God, you jumped out of the sky almost 20,000 times, and Art is so humble. He actually jumped with Tom Rice, who just passed away today. There's a great story of Art, coming down with Tom Rice, doing a tandem jump with him in France and everything else. He's an absolutely phenomenal person. And our president, Bill Markham, he's the other tandem instructor, and they're just amazing, phenomenal people. They'd be more than happy, to help you. And we'd love to have you come through the course, and, it'd be just an amazing experience. It'd be really cool. So I really
Where
hope
do you
you
guys,
think about
where do you
considering
guys do is that?
what Palatka, Florida, at Key Larkin Airfield.
Okay.
So
All right.
I'll send you the information for that. So that's
So like in March.
Listen, all right, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, so like March is because it's Women's History Month, right? So we're actually planning to do an all-women veteran jump, and I just secured a USO Satindal that's interested in coming out and being a part of the project that we're doing. So I mean, definitely we love to do it. Ideally, we're trying to jump in sundresses and berets, probably more like skirts and berets, but like that's what they did back in World War II when they had women drop before D-Day because they were double agents and they were help pave the way. So they would actually have them jump that way so that way they could easily assimilate in the countryside. So like as like a nod to herstory, we're going to do that. And Rosie is actually going to be out there as well. So I think that's really cool.
Okay.
yeah. The Jedburghs would jump in, and they'd be in a full jumpsuit, and when they hit the ground, that jumpsuit would come off, and they'd be in a full dress and everything else, and they would put their beret on, and they would just kind of mingle into the countryside, and the Nazis never knew. I mean, they had no clue, and it just the way the SOE operatives were trained was just an amazing thing, And you read some of the stories of some of those women, and Netflix just did a movie about Virginia Hall, and her experience, behind the lines, and it's phenomenal when you see what these women were able to accomplish because the Nazis never suspected them, and when they dropped in behind the enemy lines, wreaking havoc before the invasion even started. So it was just an amazing story.
No, I love that. Okay, I'll do it. It's in
Yeah, all
March.
right. Registration is
I need to date
open.
it. I gotta like set it aside. But yeah, I can. I'll do
Definitely.
that. No,
I'll talk to you more about the project. Definitely. Yeah, we got some cool things in the works. I'm really excited. So yeah, I definitely I'll reach out.
What we should do that I would really like to do is our place here in Texas is on. Well, we own 45 acres. We're about to lease to own another 40 something, and then so we have a lot of property out here. But we built this place as so we could host events here. So we had for the grand opening that we did in January, we had Creed Fisher come out and Caleb McIntyre, and we had a concert set up, and we had 10 tops tables in the hangar. The hangar is 4,800 square feet just in the hangar itself. So we have a lot of space for. And then we have a 3,000 square foot lodge and 3,000 square foot house side, but there's rooms and we have all this property, and we're going to add on to it to make more rooms because I wanted to have events out here and be able to offer for people to stay. And we made a giant fire pit for all of us to sit around, you're talking about the veterans, and sitting around with the old vets and listening to stories, and it's seats 25 or 30 people. It's huge. And
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, we have a landing pad right out the side. The hangar door opens up. It's like 40 feet by 16 by 40. So it's a really cool place that we could host an event or do something here for veterans, first responders, or something like any kind of cool idea you would come up with. We could do that here.
Well, that's something I can put you in contact with our events coordinator, John Wallace, and that's something if you want to coordinate and have us come out there or however we want, that's something you could talk to him about. So I can't speak to that. That's outside my lane, but I'll definitely give you his information. You can reach out and see, how that would work. So absolutely, it's all about making these connections, and just what you do is so awesome and amazing. And Brandi, I can't thank you enough for allowing me to come on and talk to her. So it's just so cool. It really is. I'm just happy to be able to be part of that.
Yeah, anytime. I have my misadventures, and I don't belong to anyone, so I can do what the fuck I want. So hell yeah, I'm gonna be there. So let me know. But yeah, but exactly. Don't tell me. I tell you. Just kidding. No. So that's why people come up to me. They're like, "Hey, can you do this?" Yep. So
oh, that's why I'm sending my wife out to you next month, so you can take her on the custom, photo tour, whatever, San Antonio. So she's looking forward to that.
Can't wait. That's gonna be fun. And she can definitely check out the new horse ranch. So I actually named a horse ranch. We're working on for equine therapy. We're developing it for veterans and first responders with PTSD. And so they all the horses have like night names. I think there's Saturday Night Ride, Night Mary. There's Good Night. Like there's like Three Dog Night. Like they're all black.
You should make one like Saturday Night Special. There you go.
No, Saturday Night Night's so that's fun. But either way, it's a lot of work.
That was something that we talked about doing here too, because Mike actually, when he got out of the Marine Corps, he retired. He spent 3 years in Walter Reed with PTSD and a TBI, and so he was there for a long time. But they would have groups that would come in and take those vets out that they lived there, and they would get them out of the hospital and go do stuff with them. And one of the things that he got to do was equine therapy. And we have horses too. And so that was something that he was talking about doing too, because he was like, it really helped him and he really loved it. So it's really cool that you're doing that. But that is something that we've talked about doing here because we have all the property and the horses and all that too. But I'm not sure, but I don't want to take your, thunder, but
I'm new. Like this whole thing, it was basically like a person like reached out to me. We happened to like meet on Veterans Day, and we just sat down and talked. And he basically was hit rear end by a kid going 70 miles an hour. Didn't even see him and stop. So he's got like a fractured pelvis and his hands fractured. So I was like, well, let me help you, because a lot of people he's having come on, like they're not really working as they should. So basically, I'm like, let me help where I can. And make some calls. So I'm like basically like tasking a lot of people, because they had 50 migrant workers living on the property. And then when INS took them away, like the property, had a lot of trash and things that had to be cleaned up. So right now I'm enlisting the aid of anybody that's interested in volunteering to get it operational. But I know about cows, not so much about horses, but it's funny because horses can creep on you really, really quietly. And so like, I'll be like in the office and I'll look and there'll be like 3 horses right behind me. I'm like, ugh, I didn't even see you guys there. And like, Andy, the owner, was basically like, well, I can creep up on anybody and you wouldn't know I was coming. That's why he would like go like for Halloween as like headless horsemen and stuff, because you would hear the horses. You could like sneak up on people. That was funny. And they're all black too. I'm like, oh man, they're even like, you can't even barely see them. But also, I did want to let everybody know. So the organization Battle Betties, they're doing their annual holiday blanket drive. So if anybody wants to donate, definitely reach out to them. They're on Instagram, Facebook, and major social media platforms. They do a lot in like the pinup world as well as the veteran world, and they're amazing ladies. They do a lot of great things for the veteran community. So if anybody has any blankets they'd like to donate, definitely reach out. And yes, definitely equine therapy is a great success of PTSD. There's a lot of peer reviews on it. For me, I like to champion different things for veterans with PTSD. That's why I've written about alternative medical treatments for veterans with PTSD, and I try to advocate where I can, because the VA tends to throw medication at things always, and that's not always a solution, as I believe. Now there's a time and a place, but that's not always. So for me, that's definitely something that I like to try to do. So I think that the more people helping, the better. And you're in Texas, you said, or were you in Florida? I didn't know if I misheard you.
Are you talking about me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm in Texas.
It's like I'm in San Antonio.
I'm in Texas. Yeah, we're here in Texas. We decided, like, we operate in Oklahoma too. So the hog hunts this coming is going to be up in Oklahoma, out of Valiant. And I'm recommending that people stay at the Choctaw Casino in Grant because it's closer, but you can also go stay in Broken Bow in Hochatown area. There's amazing cabins there that if you want that, but it's a little bit further of a drive to get to where the helicopter's at. But we're going to start doing our charters out of our hangar here in Texas because we can shoot over to DFW, pick people up, fly them up wherever they want to go, come back here. So we're kind of split between Oklahoma and Texas because we're only about 30 minutes from the Red River that splits the two. So
Texahoma.
30, 45 minutes.
Texahoma, yeah, that's what it is.
I know.
Like
Right.
I remember that sign somewhere. Yes, I can't remember shit. But anyway, but I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. So I'll get final thoughts from you as well as Daniel. So Daniel, I'll ask you first. So what are your final thoughts?
Just it's really amazing what you do, and that you still paving the way for women, and it's really it's awesome to meet female pilots. I worked in the flight line for for a private charter company, Richmond Aviation, for 9 years. My dad was a twin engine pilot for years, so it's just I never saw a lot of women pilots. I never did, and it's always inspiring to be able to see that. So thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for your service. So thank you very much. It's awesome to sit there, and I'm glad you're thinking about it. You're going to come jump with us. I'm really excited for that.
Oh, she's coming.
Brandi,
I'm not allowed to say no now. People are going to be like waiting for me to post a video or something.
Oh, there you go.
I'm coming.
Hey, Brandi, thank
that's
you.
going to be really cool.
It might be smoking the cigars. Wait, no, yeah. No, I spoke into existence. That's happening. No, wait, I'll give bring whiskey.
Well, thank you again for allowing me to come on. It's always a fun time to be able to come on and not only talk about the team but our STEM program and feature what we're doing with education. And especially highlighting women's history and thank you so much. I can't. It just thank you seems kind of small, but I really really appreciate it. So.
Well, like I said, I'm here. This is why I like to advocate. After Miss Veteran America, I was like, what the hell am I going to do and how am I going to advocate? So I'm glad that I can do that through the show and bring people together and talk about different organizations, especially because of the fact that we need to be celebrating not only women veterans, but organizations that do help the veteran community as well. And Brandi is pretty awesome and does both, so I couldn't wait to have her on. I know my friend, the Stone Vet's going to be a little jealous because I know he's been wanting a show for a minute. Look at her face. She was exactly
know.
Sorry,
he has been asking me, and I will reach out to him. No,
I was gonna give him shit. No, I just give him a hard time. He'll be okay. No, he's fine. But all right, Brandi. So, what are your final thoughts for the night, ma'am?
Man, thanks. I appreciate you reaching out too, and I think that's it's really awesome what you're doing. And I love the podcast. I love when I saw it and I read it, I was like, yes, oh my god, I love that. Like it hit me. I was like, you're right, because no one I never get it. Like 99% of the time, if I'm with Mike and they talk about veterans, they're like, oh, thank you. They'll thank him, and he's always like, she was in the Marine Corps too, And I'm like, oh, thanks. Sorry, guys. Thank you. No big deal. Like I'm so used to it. It doesn't even faze me. It is what it is. But I love it. I love what you're doing. I love that you're bringing attention to it. As more time comes on, I'm really hoping to start doing more with the veteran community. I want to set up events. We do donations. I help raise money for them. I try to give away as many free flights as I can. It gets kind of expensive doing that, but I'm not a greedy person, and I do it because I love it, and I'm not doing it to be like rich and famous or anything, So I just have fun with it. If I can pay, if I'm like, okay, cool, I can pay the bills, I'll fly you. Let's go, And I don't have a problem doing that. Awesome. And I want everybody to be able to do it. I know it's expensive, and it does cost a lot to do it, like to operate it. But, if I can help people out and donate to them and stuff like we do like the boot campaign's a big one. If you guys don't know them, look them up. They're at school. We donated with them, and there's just a lot. So we should do, I would love to keep, stay involved and do some more. And I'm glad you had me on here, and hopefully we can start bringing in all the people.
Heck yeah, sister. Let me know. I was gonna say, how did you like the stickers, by the way?
Oh my God, I love those. And the texture is freaking awesome. So
Right?
yeah, I do. Thank you. I love them. They're great.
I'm glad you like them. I was wondering how they went.
I'm gonna have to send you some of mine. We have stickers. I'm about to order some new hoodies, so I'll make sure you guys get some hoodies. It's
Oh, that'd be awesome.
It's that time of year. But keep in touch with me and send me messages. And I sometimes I'm kind of bad about responding, but I hired somebody to help me with that. So, but yes, reach out, and I'm coming jumping. So you guys plan it.
Oh, I'm gonna see you there.
Yeah, sometime between
so our registration is open now. So just go to rcptusa.org/events, and Operation Sand Snake's right there at the top. So,
and I'll get with you afterwards with my project too. So yeah, I'll talk to you about that.
And then plan a trip so you guys come visit, and we'll go hog hunting.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yes, we're there. I will have Maggie there too with her crazy ass. Hell yes.
Oh my God.
Maggie's
More pictures.
I love her so much. Oh my God. She's never a dull moment. She literally tried taking the escalator in her wheelchair in the airport. And she did. And she ate it pretty hard. I have a pretty good photo of her one-legged getting like in the air. Like, yeah, it was wild. And then she decided she was gonna take 2 more, and it was like those super long airport escalators to like heaven. And you're like, why are there so many steps on this? Yeah, after a while, I held it after a while because I was like, I'm gonna hold it near its skin. But thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and thank you guys for coming on. Have a good rest of the night, and like I always say, or be good at it. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.